What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. So I know it's been a while since we've had a video on this channel, and it was just for personal reasons. I just decided to take some time off, spend time with my family. As a new husband, I wanted to enjoy time off with my family, my wife, my new wife, my son as well, and relax and enjoy life and all of the fruits that God has been able to bless me so far. But in the midst of all of that, we got to experience one of the most tragic things that we as Americans have experienced in a very long time. And that is the passing of Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Personally, I have been heartbroken. It has probably been one of the hardest weeks that I've ever experienced in a long time. I actually took what happened to Charlie Kirk very, very personally. And that's because I feel like Charlie Kirk had a monumental impact on my beliefs, how I express myself as a conservative. I've watched so many videos and debates of his. We've watched them on this channel. We've reacted to them. It almost felt like Charlie was a big brother that I never really had. And when he got assassinated, one, it was unexpected. I mean, who would have expected that to happen to anybody, especially as conservatives? We're the non-violent ones, right? So we don't expect violence when it comes down to political debates and political conversations, right? So when it happened, it was a complete shock. I've been dealing with it for the last week, as we all have. I think a lot of people have been impacted by his death worldwide, and that just shows the impact that Charlie had. And we've also seen and heard the vitriol coming from the left, whether it be on TikTok, on X, or different various social media sites. We've also seen them face consequences for their actions as well, which is phenomenal to witness. But I just, saying that to say and give Charlie his flowers that he deserves. I just want to say, we're praying for his family, thinking about his wife and kids. Even my own brother, my little brother, has been reaching out to me every other day almost, talking about how it has impacted him as well. So a lot of people that I know have taken this very, very personally, and we're going to continue his mission, right? We're going to be consistent. We're going to speak up. We're going to be loud. We're going to be truthful. We're going to be respectful, and we're going to continue to have dialogue, just like Charlie would have wanted us to do as well. So I'm going to do my best and do my part to be consistent on this channel, bring more videos, more opinions, analysis to the best of my abilities, and do exactly what Charlie would have wanted us to do, is continue to have these conversations. So with that being said, we're going to get into this video from the Piers Morgan show to show you guys exactly why I believe Charlie Kirk was assassinated, or one of the reasons why I believe Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And it's due to the rhetoric that the left continues to push even after his death. And so we're going to watch this debate here where Destiny, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of him before. We've watched him on this channel a few times previously, where he's going to come on this debate panel and justify practically what happened to Charlie Kirk. Now, what you're going to notice is that he's basically saying that Charlie Kirk and conservatives practically deserve to go through what they're going through because Donald Trump is president. Yeah, you're going to hear that directly from his mouth. He's going to practically say that this probably would not have happened if conservatives have not elected Donald Trump as the next president. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let's not waste any time whatsoever and get straight into this video.
Well, Andrew Wilson referred to Destiny's insane tweets a little earlier, which were disavowed by Anna Kasparian. Well, Destiny joins us now. Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. in response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie. You posted on X, buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every Conservative debate call out I'd do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro. That's not what Charlie would have wanted." I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens.
Boom. There you have it. There you have it. Let's go back. Let's go back just a little bit.
And finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
Well, hold on. Let's stop there for a second. Who's been the one committing the political violence for the last 10 years that you mentioned that Donald Trump was in power? You said all of these protests happened when Donald Trump was in power. Well, it's not conservatives that are committing all of the violence. That doesn't make any sense. You're actually proving the point that it's leftists that every time that Donald Trump is in power tend to get angry and destroy things. When things are not going their way, they're the ones out there protesting and causing mayhem. And it's not up to conservatives and the right to tone down the rhetoric when we're the victims. We're the victims of what just happened. The victims don't have to tone down the rhetoric. It's the ones that encouraged the violence that need to tone down the rhetoric. They're the ones that encourage the violence that caused the shooter to have to shoot Charlie Kirk. So why are conservatives responsible for toning down the rhetoric? Because their rhetoric was not the one that caused the violence to occur. So it's up to Democrats and leftists to tone down their rhetoric because it was their side that committed the violence. I don't understand this. I don't understand. This guy is a walking contradiction, and you're going to continue to hear a whole bunch of contradictions here in a few.
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
guy
white
described
dude. He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He
No,
didn't have
Destiny.
a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry. Excuse me. When?
Yesterday, he said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college? Not
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know.
What you just said
I do know
true.
the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the
he hasn't made it
you may
clear.
not want to
said
hear
this is
this.
an ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it,
it,
Destiny. But the reality is, the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just
There's
ask
no
you.
way to deal with it.
Okay,
You're living in a
accusing the
delusional
governor of lying.
fantasy. Yeah.
That's your prerogative. But
Sure.
if it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot
Why would you
his
expect
side
anybody,
to calm down?
Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't
Can
Trump
you
go
answer
on TV
this
and say,
question?
all of us should be less violent?
Why do you
can't
think
Trump say that?
Why do you
Why
think
is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you
is
think?
your
No, let me
behavior
ask a
contingent
question. question.
on Donald Trump.
Let me
Why
ask
is
a
that?
question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the
Yeah,
opposing
Destiny.
political party.
Destiny. Let me
You
just.
have a huge audience of young men who
I'm a
listen to
YouTuber
everything you have to
who
say.
has more
So
young
when
men
you,
following
it
him.
doesn't
Who
matter.
has
You have a
more young-
huge
it doesn't
audience,
matter.
and because
This
of
is
the fact that you
world
have a
I'm
huge
living in,
audience,
and
you
your
have
brain
a
has been
responsibility
broken by
to
online
not
rhetoric.
turn. No,
And
it
your
hasn't.
brain
It
has
hasn't been
been
broken. I actually
destroyed
care
because
about the
people
country
bullied you on
and want to bring
Twitter.
people together.
If
You do
then
the
you should
opposite.
tell Donald
You
Trump to
represent
tell
the
people
worst
to
of us,
be
Destiny.
less
You're
violent.
embarrassing.
You should tell
You're
Donald.
embarrassing.
All right, let me ask
Watch how
Destiny
easy
a
this is.
question.
Watch how easy this
No,
is.
hang on.
If
Don't
Donald
all
Trump
shout
would've
at
come out
once,
and say-
please.
If Donald Trump would have come out
Destiny,
and say, "Hey, we should all be less violent,"
Destiny,
I have no problem saying.
I have one
absolutely.
question for you,
Why
Destiny.
can't conservatives do that? Why can't
Why does he have to wait until Donald Trump says it? Like, can you not think independently for yourself? If something was to happen to a leftist or a Democrat, something just like this, I or any sane individual would not have a problem in saying, hey, yeah, the conservatives need to tone down the rhetoric, right? If the rhetoric caused the violence to occur, we wouldn't have a problem in saying that. We don't have a problem in condemning any violence. And they're going to bring up Josh Shapiro, Melissa Hortman, all of these Democrats that were politically assassinated or politically, had violence enacted on them. We still condemn those. That still shouldn't have happened at all. I don't have to wait on Donald Trump or Democrats or Joe Biden or whatever to condemn a political violence for me to come out and condemn political violence. I don't need that to happen. I can say it independently as an independent individual, right? And that's what Destiny's refusing to do. He can't just come out and say, yeah, you know what? I condemn this horrible, evil act that happened to Charlie Kirk. He can't come out and say it. What he's basically saying is that, well, until Donald Trump comes out and takes responsibility, right? That's what he wants them to do. He wants conservatives, Republicans, Donald Trump to come out and say that, oh yeah, the right needs to tone down the rhetoric, because that's inevitably going to put some responsibility on conservatives, on Donald Trump. And that's what they want. They don't want the full responsibility of having a leftist enact political violence. And that's exactly what's going on. There is no reason for conservatives to have to take responsibility for what happened and tone down their rhetoric. No, we demand that you tone down your rhetoric and condemn political violence. But what they've been doing is literally coming out and excusing political violence. They'll come out and say things like, oh yeah, it's so sad that Charlie Kirk was shot, but Charlie was a misogynist, but Charlie Kirk was a transphobe, but Charlie Kirk was a homophobe, but Charlie Kirk was a racist, right? You say but, or you say however, you're basically negating everything that you said. You're literally covertly, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Encouraging political violence. That's exactly what you're doing. When you say like, oh, well, I hate that he got shot, but he shouldn't have did that. But he shouldn't have been racist. So therefore, if you are racist, you might expect political violence to happen to you, right? That's exactly what they're doing. And it's annoying to have to listen to the gaslighting continue to happen here. It's crazy.
conservatives do that?
Destiny, I have a question for you. Why do you think in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United States is
inflame
not
the temperature.
able
You're
to
mocking his
it's
widow.
already inflamed.
You're
What are you
mocking his
talking
widow.
about? We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you
to
mock his
fight
widow?
Online because
Why
she's
did you
being
mock his
wielded
widow?
as because she's being used as a political weapon right now
Wow.
for conservatives to continue their fight. What do you mean, wow? She's literally doing
Her husband just got
ads
murdered.
on email. Yeah, and she's using it to drive up recruitment for
And
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
condemn the murder. You won't
The
condemn
president
it.
can't even tell his side
You're
to
so
turn the temperature
deranged
down.
about Trump that you
are
cannot condemn the
unhinged.
murder
It is such
because
a
you're
joke,
waiting
and
for
you guys
Donald
sit
Trump
here and
to
make
say
money
something.
off of it. It's
All right, let me bring
crazy
in
to me that
Jack.
Republicans can't
Let me
do
bring
it.
in Jack
What a joke of the
Posobiec.
world.
I gotta
And
say,
there's still no answer to that question, Piers. You can't say
Which question?
Why can't Donald Trump simply go on TV and say we all need to turn it down,
Fine.
like Biden could, like Obama could,
Fine.
like the Clintons could, like Kamala could? Why
Fine.
not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie
it's
Kirk?
unbelievable. I'm not the president of
Why
the United
can't
States.
you
answer that
condemn
question.
the
It's
murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should be
Yes,
the
it
one
was.
that is driving up
It
the
actually
rhetoric.
was your side that caused it. It
This
was
an
your
18
side.
This guy was raised in a white
He was
Christian
a
household
radicalized
in a Christian
leftist
state.
ideology.
He wasn't radicalized by leftism at all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what
Just
the
like
investigators
the one that killed
are
Melissa
saying.
was a conservative, just like the people that firebombed Shapiro's house was a conservative, just like all the J6ers were
was not
conservative,
a
just like the Proud
conservative, he was
Boys
a
were conservative.
pro-Palestinian activist
Every
out of
single one of
Harrisburg.
every single one of these people. Oh, it's Jack Posobiec, what, the author of Unhuman, another person that Charlie's putting. Good one, dude.
Well, I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie
Yes, you
Kirk.
are acting like a non-human.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump
'Cause you were against
condemn
humanity.
violence
So,
in this
all
country?
right, you
Why
won't
can't I
condemn
hear
it. Okay, we've
I
all
can't hear it.
heard.
That's insane
We've
to
all
me.
heard you repeatedly refuse to
And we've
condemn it.
heard Donald Trump refuse to condemn
Jack
it too. But for some
Posobiec.
reason, the leftists on YouTube are a bigger deal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening. Jack Posobiec.
I find it sickening that when people are getting killed in the country, the president of the United States on Fox and Friends, when they're begging him, what do you say to your followers that want revenge? He says, I don't know, all the elections are rigged. It's the radical Democrats. That's insane to me. And then the fixation is, well, who on Twitter and YouTube isn't condemning the violence?
All right, Jack
Piers,
Posobiec.
you have a great example here of the type of cancer I'm talking about, where when you present direct information, they refuse, they obfuscate, they refute, they say it's not true, they lie. You could see from the bullet casings, you could see from postings, you could see from everything out there that it's very clear what happened here. This is the same people who supported President Trump almost getting assassinated twice last year, Cory Capatore being assassinated
By
last year
conservatives.
in a situation. Again, see, just lies. That's all they do. They talk over. They don't even let you give a chance to speak. And something needs to be done, Piers. Something absolutely needs to be done. This ideology should be shamed, humiliated, driven from the public discourse. I mean, you've got people who have completely dissociated with humanity because all they care about are clicks and YouTube streams and likes. Go to the casket. Go to the gravesite. Go talk to the widow. You know, I don't even know how to discuss this with someone who's completely lost all touch with reality.
Yeah, I mean, Anna.
What's Jack's answer to why can't the president say we should all be less violent?
Right. Because you can't even condemn the cold-blooded
Because I
execution
can't.
of Charlie
Donald Trump
Kirk.
turns on Destiny.
I don't think
on
you're in the
YouTube,
position
and he
to
says, I
demand
wonder what
anything from
Destiny's saying
anybody.
on YouTube. That's how I'm going to take my.
You're
my
not in any
pointers.
position
Really?
to condemn anybody for anything. You won't
Absolutely
condemn a
am, because he's the
cold-blooded
president
murder.
of the United States. He's the president of the United States. No one here can answer that question.
Basic
Why Donald
humanity
Trump-
says
why
the
Donald
murder
Trump,
was
the president,
horrific.
Can't say
Why can't
all
you
of us
say
need
it?
to be less violent.
Why can't you
Democrats
say
have been
it,
saying
Destiny?
for over a decade.
To
Democrats
say
have
the
been saying it for
murder
over a
was
decade.
horrific and
Why
unacceptable.
can't Donald Trump say it?
You can't do
why
it,
does no
can
one
you?
hear any words for Donald Trump?
All right, Anna
What do you have for
Kasparin.
Donald Trump? Nothing exactly.
Anna Kasparin, to me, this is what I'm talking about, that I think there is an element of the left, the hard woke left, that have completely lost their minds. If you are not able to just outright simply condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk, and if you cannot stop yourself from mocking his grieving widow, you are sick, as I've just seen from Destiny. It's a
The
sick
sick thing is
mindset.
weaponizing a widow's grief to try to do recruitment for your political party. That's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. She's showing up in emails for recruitment
What
drives
would
for
you
TPUSA.
expect, though, Destiny?
24
What did you
I
think
expect
the
for somebody whose
assassination
husband
of a
was just
political
killed? I
figure
would
would
say you'd
do?
probably
What did
take-
you think
you pro-
the outcome was going to be? What did you think the
what do you-
outcome was? And
hold
by
on,
the
I'm
way,
sorry, are you asking me
really,
for the pragmatic
your
political outcome,
behavior?
or are you asking
hold
me
on,
for-
let me. Hey,
You're
how
asking me a
about
question,
take it
so I
easy
didn't know
on
it
the
was rhetorical.
Adderall? Take it easy on the Adderall, and let me answer the question
okay,
that Pierce
sorry,
asked me.
you must have been really
Okay,
lonely today.
My
Let Anna
behavior,
speak, please.
my behavior is not reliant on how anyone else behaves. Every morning I wake up and I make decisions about how I choose to react or respond to things. I don't wake up in the morning, check what Donald Trump has to say, and then base my own personal behavior on his behavior. I agree with you in that it would be very helpful to have the leader of this country want to turn the temperature down. And he hasn't done that. I agree with you on that. But that doesn't change the way I choose to respond to what's going on. The idea of mocking a woman who is now a widow with 2 young children who witnessed her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out to death. How can you mock that? What is wrong with you? I just don't understand it. That's it. I don't understand it. I don't understand you, Destiny. You have so much hatred in your heart, and at the same time, you judge
such a simple thing.
others
If you're
as
going to
hateful.
weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then of course people have a right to fight back against it. I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants, but when that grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment, political recruitment, and further radicalization of the other side, then of course you not only have the ability to mock it, I think you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
Let me understand. Let me understand your argument. So since others are using her grief to politically recruit, you think that it's okay to mock her specifically?
Since others
How does
are
that make
using
any
her grief,
sense?
she's the one who gave a 17-minute speech on TV where she talked about good versus evil. She's the one showing up in
Destiny, let me
TPUSA
explain,
ads to
let
1
me
or 2
explain
days
something to
after.
you. If someone assassinated my husband, I would not be able to have the level of composure she had during that speech. I would be out for blood. I understand why she's angry and why she said the things that she said. Okay, you need to understand what being a human is, what it's like to actually lose someone that you love, that you chose to spend your life with, that you chose to raise children with, a person who was violently and viciously assassinated like that. This is why I've moved away
And when
from
something
identifying as a
you got bullied online. It's so funny. It's so funny that you just said that you don't think about how other people act to define your behavior. Your entire political ideology now is somehow defined by the people that were mean to you on Twitter.
No,
if somebody
it's
cares
not.
about somebody who's
No,
grieving,
I understood
then you tell that
what
person,
the flaws
you
on
tell
the
that
left
person,
happen to
hey,
be. The
maybe you
weakness
should
in their
step back for a
arguments.
couple of
No,
weeks.
no, it's
Maybe
not
you should
about
take
the
some
way I
time to
get
grieve.
treated.
You don't
I get
say,
treated
hey, let's
like
throw a
crap from
camera in
both
front
sides
of
of
you
the
and have
political
you do
aisle.
mass recruitment for our political party while everyone over here is calling for civil war. It's unhinged. When you've got people like Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire, the
we're
president
talking
of the
to a
United States
guy
calling
who
for
said
civil
he'd be
war.
okay with his own parents getting killed if they went to that Trump rally where that assassination attempt
and we're talking
happened.
to a
There's
woman
no
who went
reasoning
on and
with
did
you,
the whole
Destiny.
conservative media
There's
outlet with
there's
Tucker
no
Carlson
reasoning
and
with
Glenn
you.
Beck and had
Okay.
nothing bad to say whatsoever. I know where your bread is buttered. I know where
And
you're
it was
making your money
great.
from.
I had
Okay, that's
awesome
great.
conversations.
I
I don't regret it at
I know,
all.
that's great.
I also had a
keep up with the
conversation
personal
with Jack
attacks 'cause you're
Posobiec
so
on her
brain
take. It was
broken.
awesome.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Jack,
what
the guy over there that
democracy
gets
is about.
paid by
Having
Russia
an
that lies
exchange of
about everything that
ideas.
comes out of his
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah,
All right,
great.
let me
That's a good
bring
one.
in.
Right.
Let me
Very
bring
I don't
in.
agree
guy.
with him on everything, but at
Lord
least we
have
can
mercy.
have dialogue.
Anna,
No one
Anna,
on
you're
here can
completely
go all
right,
that
by the
dialogue.
way.
Sure as
Anna
hell
is
right now.
completely
Charlie,
right.
didn't it?
And the irony of Charlie Kirk is that he led the way in going in to debate with people who hated him, and he would try and have respectful
Charlie
dialogue.
Kirk beat up
well,
on college students.
unlike
That's all
you,
he
Destiny.
did. Let's be
Let me
real.
bring
Unlike
Andrew
me,
Wilson
I'm
in.
So do
arguing,
you.
I'm not- yeah.
Let me bring in
So
Andrew
do you.
Wilson.
So do you. You beat up on college students. You go on a college tour. You're
Charlie
going on a
Kirk is
college
trying to
tour
hold
right
higher
now
level
to
debates
beat
and you
up
guys
on
kill them.
college students. What are you talking about, Destiny? That's what you're doing right this second, is going on a college tour to go beat up on college students. By the way, can I just ask you a question?
I don't
Yes or no?
exclusively beat up on college.
Can you
What are you
actually
talking about? I
answer?
debated half
Can you
the
actually
damn
answer?
why. What do you
Hang
mean
on,
I
calm
beat up-
down.
what do you mean I beat
I
up
just
on
got one
college students?
question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years in
Then
this
just-
country has been crazy. But the reality
So
is,
then-
until
So
conservatives
then why did you
have
say
to
that to your co-host that Trump deserved the bullet? Why did you tell him that?
Until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose in Democrats doing it, because every time Democrats disavow, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left. Donald Trump can go on TV. He can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them, and we can come out and go, hey, guys, why aren't Democrats disavowing violence? And pretend that the problem is coming from the left. Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly when the president of the United States
Let me
won't go
respond
on
quickly.
TV and say all of
Let me
us need to be
respond
less
quickly,
violent. How
Destiny.
easy
So
would that
the
be?
thing is, why did you say to your co-host
Yeah, keep focusing
that
on me.
the
Keep
bullet
focusing on
that
me.
the bullet
I'm not here to
that
play-
the bullet was for Trump? Why did you say
Why
to
did
your
the- why did the-
co-host
why did
that
Donald
the
Trump-
best
why did
place for the
Donald Trump
bullet
call
was Trump?
Kamala
Why did
a
you say that?
fascist? Why did Donald Trump call
It's a
everyone
whataboutism.
fascist? That's what's causing people to
Whataboutism.
kill. Yeah,
I'm
that's what
asking
you're
you
doing
a
right
question.
now. Whataboutism. The
I can't be
conversation is about
whataboutism
what I
if it's
said.
my
The
question,
conversation is,
Destiny.
why won't Donald Trump disavow
Answer
violence in United
the
States?
question.
All right,
Why
why
did you
don't we
say
do
that?
this? Why don't we
Why did
do
you say
this?
that?
Why don't we do
It's
this
such an
before I
easy-
cut
such an easy
mics?
question.
Because you don't care.
Destiny,
You don't care that Kirk's dead. Just
Destiny,
be honest,
allow
you fuck.
Andrew,
Just be
allow
honest, you
Andrew,
fuck.
allow Andrew to repeat his question and let him ask the question. Then you answer it, okay, Andrew?
No, I want to hear the other
No,
side
no.
first.
Let him ask the
He's not
question.
gonna let him.
Yeah.
Let him
Disavow violence
ask
in
the
this
question, Destiny, and then you answer it. Andrew.
Destiny told his co-host when asked point blank if he wanted the bullet to kill Trump, that the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. He said this to Pisco. I watched it. Okay. This guy's an obfuscation machine. And if you know what else, Destiny, why should we believe you? I think you are glad Kirk is dead. And all of your tweets seem to prove that. And you would have been happy if Trump was assassinated. You've made that very clear. So why not just be truthful for once in your fucking life and say the truth, that you don't care that Kirk is dead, and you're actually probably glad he is. Isn't that really what's true?
I don't want anybody in this country to die to political violence. I don't think in the United States of America that should be happening. I don't know why it's so hard for the president to say the same. I think it'd be the easiest thing in the world as a president. Biden did it for 4 years. That's why everything was way cooler when he was here, like in terms of temperature. The Clintons have no problem saying it. Barack Obama has no problem saying it. Kamala Harris has come out and said it. Every Democratic lawmaker and leader has basically come out and said it.
So basically what this moron is saying is that conservatives didn't riot and break shit down and burn down the country when Joe Biden was in the presidency because he told conservatives to tone it down, right? That's the logic here, because conservatives were not burning shit down or rioting or enacting any type of political violence when Democrats were in power. So according to this guy, his logic is that, well, the only reason that these political violence didn't occur during Democrats' power is because the Democrats like Obama and Joe Biden told the country to tone down the rhetoric or tone down the violence. This guy is silly. No, there was no violence because conservatives we're not naturally violent. Even when we're not in power, even when Democrats are in charge of things, we don't go down and burn shit down like Democrats do. And that's what Destiny admitted. He admitted on this same clip that every time Donald Trump is in power, there seems to be a lot of political violence occurring. Coming from who? Coming from the left. It's not conservatives. Why would conservatives riot and loot and burn the country down when Trump is in power? There's no reason to. But see, he admitted that, hey, every time that Trump is in office, every time Republicans are in charge and things don't go the way that liberals don't want it to go, they tend to riot and burn shit down. Roe v. Wade riots, Antifa riots, the ICE raids, the BLM riots. I mean, the Brett Kavanaugh assassination attempts, Steve Scalise. I mean, come on, we can keep going on and on and on and on and on. But all of these things happen when Trump was in power, because liberals were angry. And he said it. He said it in the beginning of this video, which was that Charlie Kirk probably wouldn't have been shot if Donald Trump was not president. Destiny said that. It came out of his own mouth. That's what they're telling you here. This is crazy.
But for some reason on the Republican side, it's just civil war, civil war, civil war. And the Republican president of the United States, who has presided over more violence politically in this country, more large protests than any president in all of U.S. history, for some reason can't bring himself to say, all of us need to calm down. And
so did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did
Trump deserve the bullet?
This is all you care about are the political hijabs.
Just answer the question, bro. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Donald Trump
deserve the
violence
bullet
on his side ever? Did Donald Trump
answer the question? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
You can't answer the question. We're here to play.
No, bro. It's my turn to ask the question. It's your turn to answer.
It's YouTube video clips.
Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Trump disavow violence in this country ever?
Did he deserve the bullet? Yes, he's disavowed violence.
But
again, I just did. Now your turn. Now your turn. It's your turn.
Did Donald Trump?
Did Trump deserve the bullet?
I never said that. No, I never said that. No.
Okay, except you did to your co-host.
No, I didn't. Oh, wait. When did Donald Trump disavow? Wait. When did Donald Trump disavow violence in this country?
Your co-host, you lying sack of shit. If he wanted to kill Trump, the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. That's what you said, bro.
Yeah. And this is where when you're putting YouTubers and tweeters on the same level as the president of the United States, this is why conservatives are absolutely brain broken when it comes to violence in this country. And that's why it'll continue.
But Destiny,
there'll be more deaths. Maybe it'll be me at the next one. Who knows? There'll be
Destiny.
You guys are all going to turn around and be like, I can't believe it. What's going on? What's happening here?
Okay, Destiny, if you care so much about political violence in America, why don't you lead the way yourself without mentioning anybody else? Why don't you, Destiny, right now just outright condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because we've been doing that for a decade. One side can't turn down the temperature.
You can't do it.
Side can't turn down the temperature. If Donald Trump can't then the left shouldn't until he does.
Got it.
Republicans
Okay, you don't want to do it.
need accountability for their actions. They need some responsibility for the insanity.
He had it coming,
even though you take none yourself. Let me bring in Jack Pasovic.
We absolutely,
All
Democrats
right,
will
that's
take
enough,
accountability when
Destiny.
it's their
I'll
fault.
bring in Jack Pasovic.
Yeah.
Jack, what is your response to this?
I mean, Piers, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, this type of ideology where you've got someone who's willing to mock Erica, who's been standing strong for her family, for her children, who's just, she will never be able to grow old with Charlie. She will never be able to be with them again, have more children, to have grandchildren, to have those memories, to raise them. It's all gone. Every single moment of that future that they had was gone because someone fired a bullet at Charlie Kirk that said, "Hey, fascist, catch." And now you have people celebrating it. And when you ask people
That's
about
not even
it,
the
they
bullet
say,
that was fired.
"Oh,
How are you lying
oh,
about this?
Shut
even?
up, Destiny.
Holy
Shut
shit!
up.
You're so
Shut
shameless,
up.
dude. Oh my god! You don't even cite the right bullet. You're such a disgusting
Piers.
piece of shit. Holy fuck!
What a
Here's-
pedantic point.
Are we-
What a
are we
It's not
even gonna
pedantic.
do
pedantic.
this?
The guy's a fucking professional
It's total
liar.
pedantry.
It's
Epic
total
and
pedantry. Total
This guy
pedantry.
probably.
I
I would like to let
Jesus.
Jack. I would like to let Jack finish his point, please.
Yeah,
and
it's just
and
rant
they'll
here,
claim there's no leftist connection. They'll claim there's no there and then go so far as to lie and say there's some kind of Christian conservative connection when you could see the writing on the bullet casings. And so you know, these are very common symbols associated, whatever. The point is, right, it should be very, very clear. Are we connected with our humanity or are we not? And some people are willing to do that. Anna's been willing to do that. We've done shows together. They've been fine. They've been good. We've jousted. We've done the back and forth. Destin and I in the past have had shows together where before he kind of took this turn, and you think there are people who can just be willing to stand up for humanity.
You know, Jack, it reminds me a bit of the journey I've gone on, very different circumstances, but the Israel-Hamas war. The reason I asked everybody on the pro-Palestinian side for months after the war started, do you condemn what Hamas did, is I think it was very enlightening as to the humanity of the person by how they responded. If their immediate response was, of course I do, the mass murder of civilians on October the 7th was a horrendous atrocity, then we can move on to an intellectually honest debate. If they refuse to condemn what Hamas did, it's a completely different debate. And similarly, right now, I feel if you can't condemn a lot of what the IDF are doing, frankly, it's my opinion, in Gaza, then the same thing. If you're unequivocally like, it's all fine with 20,000 plus kids being killed, then I've got a problem with that too. But I do think you've got to try and maintain in all of these debates a modicum of humanity about people who are actually being killed. And what is terrifying about the mindset of a lot of people on the woke left I've seen since Charlie Kirk's death is the brazen glee that they're taking to his murder. And then when I see even Destiny, who's a very well-followed person on the internet, well-known, when Destiny, frankly, if you can't bring yourself just to say the murder was horrific and should never have happened, it's a very simple sentence. It's just basic humanity. It really makes me despair for where everything is going, because it's indicative of the mindset of, I can't give an inch to my political opponents, therefore I lose my humanity. How can that be right?
Because you can't give an inch to political opponents that won't recognize or acknowledge anything they've done is wrong. It's all it's done is gotten us here. This is where we're at because of that exact mindset. Will any of the conservatives here acknowledge the conservative that murdered Melissa Hortman and her husband and shot the other senator in Minnesota?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
That it was a conservative shooter?
violence.
That it was a conservative shooter?
I don't know the details on that particular case. If I did, and it turned out that it was the case, of course, I would say that such violence should be disavowed. The thing is, you can't hold your entire moral standard based on what you think Trump is doing or not doing. What does that have to do with you, Destiny? It has nothing to do with you. You can easily just say, you can lead by example and say, let's all tone down the violence.
You can't lead by
That's
example.
what you
I'm not
want,
the president
right?
of the United States. That's what Democrats have been doing.
Wait,
for
you
the
can't
last
lead by
decade.
example because you're not the president? That's the
when
stupidest thing I've heard
if
today.
one side wants to fight and the other side doesn't, then you're going to fight. One side can't decide not
What
to
are you
fight,
talking?
but the other
That
side
makes no
decided to.
sense. What does that have
What
to
do you
do
mean
with
it
you?
makes no
You
sense?
can-
If
you
some
can
guy comes up to
easily-
you to
you
fight,
can easily
and the
just
other
say it
side
now,
says, I
Destiny.
don't want to, you don't really have the choice there.
But
If
that's,
you fight, you
example,
win.
but that's exactly what's going on to conservatives right now. We're saying we don't want to fight. I mean, this guy's an absolute lunatic. We're saying we don't want to fight. Leave us alone. Y'all are the ones talking about y'all want a civil war. Y'all want to take on MAGA. We don't want to fight. But y'all killed one of the leaders of the conservative movement. Y'all are forcing our hand to fight, not the other way around. Like Destiny got it completely backwards here. Completely backwards. He's acting as if Democrats and liberals have been getting attacked left and right, and they've just been sitting, with their hands under their asses or whatever. And that now liberals are forced or pushed to have to fight back. That's absolutely crazy. And that's also justifying, once again, covertly, that's also justifying Charlie Kirk's assassination as well. Because Destiny's practically saying that liberals have been getting beat up for the last 10 years, have not been doing anything, and they were just responding back to all of the violence that they've been experiencing, which is absolutely backwards. Absolutely backwards. Y'all are forcing us to have to fight back because you're actually physically attacking conservatives. Liberals were not being attacked by conservatives. They'll say that Melissa Hortman and the other guy that was assassinated was assassinated by conservatives. That's not true. Allegedly, it was a guy that was working for Tim Walz. And then it wasn't even like a political assassination due to rhetoric. Allegedly, it was because those two Democrats were not voting far left enough. They did not vote party line, according to some reports. Right? So this was not, oh, they're liberals, so we just got to take out liberals. No. Same thing with Josh Shapiro. Right? It was a pro-Palestinian that went and burnt down his government's mansion. It wasn't a conservative. But even if it was, that's the difference here. But even if it was conservative agitators, us conservatives can come out and say that should not have happened. Hold them accountable. Lock them up and throw the keys away. Right? We're not blaming the other side and saying, oh no, Democrats need to tone down the rhetoric. We wouldn't do that if it was a conservative shooter or assassin or a conservative that burned down Josh Shapiro's house or government's mansion. So this guy is, this guy is just a lunatic, man. And you can even see, look at Anna's face. Because Anna knows these are the monsters that she helped build. Her and TYT and all of these liberal media outlets that were calling conservatives fascist, Nazi, right? Totalitarians, right? They were saying all of these things. And these are the monsters that they've created. And she's seeing that. Just look at her face every now and then when Destiny is speaking. You'll notice her frustration. I guarantee you.
And lead by
You
example.
can't lead by
and show
example.
us.
That's called dying.
You can.
Actually,
Right
I
now.
thought-
You
I
can do
thought-
it right
I
now.
actually
Second
thought-
Amendment rights.
Do it right
I
now.
actually
That's
thought,
part of
let me
self-defense.
jump in.
Because you're actually happy
Let me
about
jump
it,
in
Destiny.
here.
Just be honest, you're happy
I actually
about it.
felt that Anna hit the nail on the head here, which is she did not need to wait for Donald Trump to comment on this to make her own mind up about what had happened. That is intellectual honesty, right? Yes, it may have been somebody that she totally
Anna's
disagreed
a
with
right-wing
on many
talking
issues.
head. Why- yeah,
the
no, of
simple,
course she can do
humane thing
this.
to do with any event like this is to ask yourself, how do I personally feel about it? Not what does Donald Trump think about it,
She's a
or what
right-wing
does
talking
Joe
head.
Biden think about it, or what does Timbuktu think about it. It's what do I personally feel about this. It didn't take me very long, Destiny, to understand that I felt repulsed by the execution of somebody in cold blood with his wife and 2 young children there watching. It's a human reaction. I don't need to know what Donald Trump thinks about it
You're there.
at all. I don't understand why you need to wait for him, before your own
I don't
humanity
need to wait
kicks
for
in.
anybody. No, you're not asking how we feel about it. You're asking what the public statements should be. And the public statements should be
No,
the
I'm
President
not.
of the United States.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
You're
I'm
asking
not.
me for a public statement
I'm
right
asking,
now.
where
You
is
think
your
it's great watching a
humanity? You
colleague
can't
getting
just
murdered?
say the
Where
murder
is your
was
humanity,
wrong.
peers? You guys are playing into this exactly. I think you probably know it. I think Cornell was right about this. You know where your bread is buttered as well. You guys play into this. It's insane to me that the President of the United States can't say, hey, all of us need to be less violent. We all need to calm the fuck down. That the President of the United States can't say this, but you will endlessly scour Twitter and YouTube for leftists to bring on and say, don't you guys disavow the violence? It's absolutely absurd to me.
You know, Cornel West should have stayed in his seat. We were debating free speech, actually, and whether
You're not debating free
and
speech.
whether
It's not
well, let
even
me
an equivalent
finish. Let me
conversation,
finish,
Piers.
and whether the
It's insane.
overuse of words like Hitler, Nazis, and fascists was actually empowering deranged young minds to think they were battling actual new Hitler, Nazis, and fascists. And actually, when Andrew pointed out to Cornell that he had used the phrase neo-fascist about Trump, that's when Cornell decided he couldn't take part in the debate anymore, when he was reminded of something he had said. He didn't try and deny it. He just said, I don't want to have this debate, and left.
Piers, how long have you been in the United States, like following our politics?
Over 20 years, I've lived and worked in America.
Okay, if you've lived and worked in America, I grew up as a conservative listening to Rush Limbaugh and to Glenn Beck
Yeah.
and to Billy Cunningham and to Sean Hannity. You're going to sit here and pretend like Democrats are the ones that started the name calling? I heard them call Obama and the Clinton
I didn't say
socialists and
that.
communists.
When did I say
I
that?
heard them call. I'm just saying, why are we pretending that some
Wait,
people
I'm saying,
call
why
them
did
grew up in a white
Cornel
Christian
West-
household?
Why
and you're
would
a
Cornel
leftist?
West
I thought
walk
that
out
couldn't
on a
happen 5
debate when we're
minutes ago.
literally talking about the importance of speech? Makes no sense to me.
If speech is important, then the president should exercise it more cautiously.
So should you.
Let's just stop there for a second. So I don't know if you guys heard that. I don't know if you just caught what Andrew just said. Destiny just admitted that he grew up in a conservative Christian household. And he's also now a deranged leftist. But earlier in this video, this guy made the claim that the shooter is not a leftist because his parents are conservative Christian MAGA. Right? He said it was impossible. It was impossible for this guy to be indoctrinated into left-wing ideology because his parents are conservative Christian MAGA. Now, this guy just now admitted that he also grew up in a Christian conservative household that watched Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh. This is crazy. But now, he, for some reason, is able to become a leftist, a Democrat, right? Wake up. But others can't? That's what Andrew was just saying. I don't know if you guys can hear it clearly. Let's go back just a little bit.
Republicans, each is important.
Woman,
ago.
say, why did
Communists,
when did I say
I've
that?
heard them call,
right,
I'm just saying,
watch
why
Andrew.
are we pretending that some
Wait,
people
I'm saying,
you
why
grew
did
up in a white
Cornel
Christian
West-
household?
Why
and you're
would
a
Cornel
leftist?
West
I thought
walk
that
out
couldn't
on a
happen 5
debate when we're
minutes ago.
literally talking about the importance of speech? Makes no sense to me.
If speech is important, then the president should exercise it more cautiously.
So should
And
you.
Republicans
So should you.
have been. You can't stop.
You've
a
got
fight on
millions
one
of followers,
end.
and you think it's
You
fine
can't
to
stop
show them
a fight
you're
on
mocking
one
a
end.
widow.
You cannot choose for your opponent not to fight you.
Fine.
If
You
Republicans
mocked
won't
a
turn
grieving
down
widow.
the rhetoric. Then who cares? Donald Trump
Who
shouldn't have
cares?
used the rhetoric that led her to being
cares?
killed. 2 days before she
Who
dies,
cares
Donald
that you
Trump's
mocked
tweeting
a
out
grieving
pictures.
widow?
This is
There
all.
it is.
It's just virtue signaling.
There
You
it
guys
is.
are
Donald Trump's
you
fault.
guys are excited about it. You guys love it.
How is
You
it-
love
how
the
is it that you
violence.
said this
You
guy
love
can't
the
possibly be a
conflict. It's
leftist?
exciting to you. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
No.
How
this
is
isn't
it that you
exciting.
said this guy can't be a
This isn't
leftist
good.
because he grew up in a white Christian household when you grew up in a white Christian household by your own admission just now and you're a fucking leftist, Destiny?
I'm
Can you explain that
36
to me?
years old. This guy was 22 and he lived at
What
home
does that have to do
basically
with
his entire
anything?
life.
What does that have to do with
Because I
anything?
had 20 years to separate myself from my parents' ideology. I didn't live with them still. Jesus.
So 6 months, 1 year, 20 years? Why does it matter how long it took to separate? You just got to say it was impossible, and you yourself are a leftist who grew up in a Christian conservative household, dude. You're the
You're
worst
asking me-
hypocrite
you're
I've
asking
ever
me-
seen.
Hold on,
You're the
I'm
worst
sorry. You think
hypocrite.
you think that a 22-year-old has as much time to separate himself from the ideology that he grew
Did
up
I
with
say
as
that?
a 36-year-old?
Didn't say
Yeah, you
it.
just made
It's
the
a
comparison,
pedantic,
dipshit.
stupid
Of course
point.
you did. It's not
Let me
pedantic.
ask
I made the
you-
comparison that a
Absolutely
person can be
obvious.
radicalized.
What a
Look at
stupid
you.
point.
Let me
You're the
jump
most
in.
radicalized
Let me
fucking-
jump in.
Yeah.
Let me jump in. Let me ask Jack. Jack, you know the Kirk family well. You've been around the Kirk family, I think, since this is appalling murder has happened. When you hear Destiny saying, who cares about the fact that he openly, publicly mocked Erica Kirk, a grieving widow, within literally a day or two of her husband being murdered, how does that make you feel as a friend of the family?
It's very angry, Piers, you know. And here's the thing is she's seeing all of it. She's going to see all of it. Her kids are going to watch this video one day. It's just, that's sort of the nature of reality now. They will see all of this and they will see the reaction. And I just hope that those of us who knew Charlie, worked with Charlie, who knew Charlie beyond the, you know, TikToks and short videos can also be there for those kids as they grow up, to let them know who their dad was.
And kids are going to grow up and watch old episodes of Piers Morgan uncensored. How performative is this? Is everybody here? Did we all get like a script before the show? What?
They watch a lot of old episodes of the
so
JFK.
embarrassing. You make the left look so bad, and you don't even realize it. You
Boom.
are seriously so embarrassing.
Boom.
Okay, yeah.
God.
You can talk to your best friend.
You really
Glenn
are.
Beck about
I mean,
it
like,
later, you know, have
do you
another
feel
30-minute conversation about it, Anna.
Maybe I
Talk more about
will.
how
Maybe
the
I will talk to
mean
Glenn
wokies
Beck about
on
it.
Twitter
Oh, is
are
that
bullying you about
ooh?
it.
Is that naughty? Is it
How many
naughty to have
conversations have you had with
people
Nick?
across the
Well,
aisle?
you guys have in
You had
common
more
now, because
conversations
people
with
on
Nick than
Twitter are
anyone.
So mean. Oh no, not the meanies on Twitter.
Anna,
How many
finish
more
your point.
lawsuits are you
chicken
going to
and
face
waffles
from
with
women
Nick
that you
Fuentes?
allegedly secretly
Like, what do you
recorded
mean?
during intimate moments, Destiny? I can't believe anyone
are you
takes you
are you
seriously.
really?
You're
You wanna
disgusting.
pull out Twitter?
You're
You wanna pull out
embarrassing,
Twitter rumors
and
now?
you should
Yeah,
be
keep going, Anna.
shunned from
Yep.
public life with
Keep
your
playing it.
disgusting
My God,
treatment
I can't
of all
believe you
sorts
got
of people,
bullied so hard
including
on
young
Twitter. This is what you've
left-wing
become.
girls, women
You're turning
that you
more
victimized
blonde right
allegedly.
now in the window. You're
yeah,
so
that's who
you're
you
like
are.
2 shades away from being
You're
a Fox News host,
embarrassing.
Anna.
You
Keep
embarrass
going.
the left.
You
You're the type of person who pushes people away from the left.
So close,
Make
Anna.
sure you understand that. You're
Yep.
embarrassing. There's no morality with you. There's no grounding
Absolutely
values.
not.
There's no
Of course
principles.
not. Yep.
All you want is attention, 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 attention. That's all you
Absolutely.
want.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
all
Well,
you
you and
want.
Jen talking
Endless
about
attention.
9/11 was
Say
caused by the
disgusting,
Jews, and you have
provocative garbage.
another
You
friendly
want
conversation with
attention.
another
Yeah.
mainstream conservative commentator about how you're such a leftist, but those people on Twitter are so mean.
Having a debate or dialogue doesn't automatically mean that you agree with everything they have to say. It means you're coming
No, it's
together
when you sit down and you
you're
agree with
exchanging
everything they have to
ideas
say.
and
Then you agree with
debating
everything they
them.
have to say.
No, I don't agree with everything they have to
You
say.
do.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, you do.
I
Of
don't
course
agree
you
with
do. What
everything
do you
they have
mean?
to say. But you know, I'm
When
an
you
adult.
sit down and
I
all
can
of your
sit down and
criticisms
have a
are
mature
for the
debate
left,
or
and you have
conversation.
no disagreements about anything on the right, yeah, that's called
I do
agreement.
have
is usually what we
criticisms for the
call it.
left. I have tons of criticisms for the right. Tons of criticisms. I'm obviously
they don't seem to come out
pro-choice,
much
for
when you're
instance.
talking to
I
your
obviously have a
conservative friends.
huge
The big guns,
problem
yeah.
with the unending, unmitigated support for Israel, regardless of the genocide they're engaging in. I have all sorts of disagreements with the right. That doesn't mean I'm going to dehumanize them and cheer on the slaughter of my fellow Americans because we have disagreements on politics. You're
I wish
embarrassing.
anybody here had the same energy for the president of the United States, but that's good. I'm glad you guys are focused where it really counts on Twitter and
Dude,
YouTube,
you
which
have
is what the
like
conservatives want you to be
TDS,
focused
like
on, you know?
you are like the prototype
TDS,
of TDS.
yeah, there it
It's
comes. Yep.
unbelievable.
The
You
TDS,
wake up every
yes.
morning and you decide your
Yes,
behavior is going
true.
to hinge on Trump.
Tell me more
Who
about the
are you as
dancing
an individual?
Israelis and Building
God, have
7
a little bit
and
of
how
humanity.
the Jews all knew about 9/11
You're a
and they all want us to go to war in
You're
the
a
Middle East. Yeah, of course.
sociopath.
I'm
Let me
I
just
bring
never
in-
once said the
Okay.
Jews
Let me
were
bring in
behind
Jack
9/11.
again.
Not
Let me-
once. Don't make things up, you disgusting prick.
Let me
That's
bring
okay,
in
don't
Jack
worry.
again.
All right, we're going to stop it right there. That was pretty much the end of that part of the debate that I wanted to share with you guys. But yeah, you get the gist of it, right? You absolutely get the gist of it. The left is responsible 100%. These Democrats that demonize conservatives all day long, calling them Hitler, Nazi, fascist, right? All of these people are responsible. They're responsible for indoctrinating and radicalizing leftists into committing violence, right? That's just the way things are now. That's the point that we've gotten to is now we're in fearful of what we are saying because Democrats have taught and indoctrinated leftists that words could be violence, right? And that's why they see physical assassinations as being justification because in their minds, they believe that speech and words that, harms their feelings or they disagree with is violence, right? So how do you fight violence? You fight violence with violence. So if you've been told for the past 10, 15 years that the rhetoric that the right is pushing is harmful, deadly, it's violent, it's dangerous, right? If that's all that you've been hearing for the past 10, 15 years, how do you expect people to respond to that? How do you expect people to respond to that? Especially these 20-year-olds, these 22-year-olds like the shooter is. Because think about it. This rhetoric has been going on for at least 10 years. That little kid was 12 years old. So practically from the age that he's able to comprehend things and watch television and, you know, look at news, right? From the age that he was able to see these things, that's all that he's been hearing for the past 10 years. Right? So how do you expect people to respond if all that they've been hearing is that their rights are going to be taken away? Right? That Republicans are going to turn this country into a fascist state. How do you respond to that? And that's exactly the reason that we're here today. People like Destiny, even Anna, right? I'm not going to leave her out of this because she's a little bit complicit as well, because she's part of the coalition that was calling conservatives and the right wing fascist, right? Nazi for the past 10 years. She's also responsible as well. She amplified these talking points and platformed these talking points. So that's why she's sitting there scared, as you can see, and frustrated, because she knows deep down inside what she was saying was also part of the problem that radicalized people like Destiny and the shooter. It's just where we are in modern politics today. And they have to take responsibility. We're not going to let this go. We're not going to let this go at all. This right here is going to be the right wing's version of January 6th. That's it. That's all that this is going to be. And this is actually justified. It's reasonable to bring up what happened to Charlie Kirk, unlike how they were bringing up January 6th for every single argument, right? But this one right here is 100% completely legitimate for us to bring up every time that we're discussing the radicalization of the left. Just the way that it is. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the video. Hope you enjoy the commentary. Let me know what you think about my opinions. Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. And like I said, I promise to be more consistent in videos. I think it would be a disservice to Charlie Kirk if I don't continue to use and amplify the platform that God has blessed me with. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. And of course, if you're brand new, consider hitting subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.